Do you look back now? The time goes on. Is life repeating history? Is love still a mystery? Did you end up who you thought you would become? If on 1981, girl you ever loved, with the windows down, the stars above, it had all begun. From 1981.
Hello, Marisa.
Hi. So
How are
happy to see
you?
your face.
Thank you. Thank you. The feeling is absolutely mutual. You 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 look like you're in some fancy schmancy place there. That looks cool.
I'm in LA shooting an episode of something that I'm not allowed to say yet, but
Ah,
I'm staying with
yeah.
my friend. And so to be honest, it's not super fancy schmancy. It's her son's bedroom.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
hiding
her,
in right now.
it's her son's bedroom.
But I'm
There
glad it
you
looks
go.
fancy schmancy.
It sure does. It sure does.
I'm
It's
staying with
good.
her and she's on like work calls all day, whatever. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go hide and I'll call Freddie and we'll chat in
And,
privacy.
and we'll chat. Well, first and foremost, congrats on your film, on
Thank
our
you.
film,
On
right?
our film, yes. Thank you.
Man, we
Thank
had
you.
a theatrical release. We had Apple, right? It's
Yep.
on Prime now.
Yep.
Where
And
else is it?
also it's on Paramount. We just did a licensing deal with Paramount Plus, so it's there now
Oh,
too.
nice. Very
Which is
nice.
nice because none of them are they're all non-exclusive, so they can all kind of exist. So they're all it's still on Amazon Prime, but then it's
Yeah.
also on Paramount Plus. So it's called Blue Eyed Girl for anyone who
Yes.
doesn't know that yet. I wrote it. We shot it in Minnesota.
In your
Freddie was kind
hometown. In
enough
your
to
hometown.
come back and I'm in it and play my husband in the movie, which we shot in
Yeah.
Minnesota. And Valentine's Day is coming up, and we thought we would just get together and kind of talk about some of the themes of the movie. I mean, the themes of the movie
Yeah.
really heavily tie into Valentine's Day. It is
Right.
about love, but also in relation to you and I. So I was joking with my friend Ashley. I was like, so Freddie and I have been married for almost 50 years. I'm like, granted to other
Yeah.
people, but Freddie's been married for 30 years, which is
Yeah.
bananas. I
Yeah.
mean, you look 30. I don't know how you pulled off being married for
Well, thank you very
30
much.
years.
I'll take it.
You got married as a fetus, and I've
Yes.
been married for 17. So between the
17.
two of us, you'd think we'd have some kernels of wisdom. I don't know that I do, but you bet
Yeah.
for 30
Yeah.
years of marriage. That's a lot of
Well,
years.
yeah, yeah. I'm happy we're having this conversation. Well, first of all, you're right. Valentine's Day is upon us, right? It's a perfect Blue-Eyed Girl is the perfect Valentine's Day movie. But what I noticed when we were shooting the movie was that we're both from the Midwest,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
We have both been in long-term marriages. We both have kids.
Yep.
And there was something about when I was shooting in Minnesota that felt very familiar to me.
Yeah.
I'm from Chicago. I met a lot of your lovely friends
Yep.
who all had four kids, who all were in long-term marriages as well.
Yeah.
And so it seemed to me like there was a common thread
Yep.
amongst some of the friends and the family members that
Yeah.
I met. Would you agree?
Well, you were really immersed in our sense of community there. I mean, you
Yeah,
really were sort of
yeah,
dropped into the thick of it.
right.
And you played the father to my actual children.
That's
And
right.
we've joked about this. One of my children is still mad at you because
Yeah,
like
yeah.
day one. And she's
Your
like,
daughter.
what is this? Why are you kissing
Yeah,
the guy? I'm not okay with this. And she's still like, if you come up, she's like, Freddie.
yeah. Your daughter was hilarious. When I first met her, she was like, cool and open. And then you and I had that scene where you had to kiss me, and then after
Yeah.
that, like every day, I got like the side eye from your daughter.
She's like, she's a really easygoing, like
Yeah,
super nice kid that's never like that. And still to
yeah,
this, you're like as nice as an actor could be. And she's just like, oh, Freddie.
yeah. Giving me the side eye every
Mind
day.
around. I mean, she was,
Yeah,
what was she like 9? I mean,
yeah,
it's hard to grasp, right? And
yes.
you guys, you were in our house with my kids. So yeah, you were dropped right into the middle of my life. At least
Yeah,
my
yeah, and I
the
and
Minnesota
I
part.
found and I found your community to be very similar, and so that's why I was like, oh, we should have this conversation about marriage and the complex, because that's how I see our film Blue Eyed Girl. It's
Yeah,
really, when people ask me what it's about, I go, well, it's about a lot of things. For me, it's about the complexities of marriage,
yeah,
and how people go through different phases
yeah,
in marriage, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's just
yeah,
what it is humans, and how humans evolve in relationships. And you've been in a long-term relationship like me, and I was like,
yeah.
oh, then we did a movie about this. We should have a conversation about it.
Completely. And it's tricky because I always say that it's sort of a coming of age story in midlife. And I think what's
Yeah.
tricky, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this, but what's tricky about that when you're married is that like you are figuring out who you are and you are
Mm.
evolving and you are like, what's the next version of me going to be? And do I still love what I do or do I want to do something else? And do, all the things about sort of the midlife
Right.
crisis phase of life. But like, when you're doing that married, you're doing it with them and you're like, okay, now
Yeah.
how are you evolving and how am I evolving? And it's complicated. I mean, it is
It
tricky. And
is.
I think in our
Yeah.
movie, we're both kind of at a point of like, am I am I happy with where I am personally? Like take away the
Mm.
merit. Am I just happy with where I've arrived professionally and all those things and then you layer on that you're sort of like in this boat with this other person and it's
Right.
it's complicated.
What inspired you to write this film? What was the inspiration behind it?
Um, I think that it was partly because, we were in LA, we were three kids deep in LA, and then we started
Mm.
to travel back to Minneapolis a lot because Steven's dad was not doing well and
Mm.
he was looking, starting to help with the company and whatever. So we started to go back a lot. And I think I mean, I left at 18, went to USC, and then I was just out in LA. And I think going back, like, brought up a lot of stuff about my childhood, about
Mm.
dreams and aspirations and also my dad, I'd been raised there with him and in the interim he passed away and it just kind of brought up a lot of stuff and I sort of felt like I mean, I really, I made up, obviously, like I didn't go back and run into an ex-boyfriend and, none of
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
happened, but it was just like
Yeah.
I kept hearing stories about people and their marriages and I just sort of metabolized all the things I was hearing from the people around me about midlife. And I just felt like
Mm.
there wasn't enough. I still feel like there's not enough out there for people in this phase of life that kind of addresses the themes that we're walking through, whether it is
Mm.
being
Yeah.
15, 20, 30 years into marriage, or whether it is, not being where you thought you were going to be in terms of your career, or, the sandwich generation stuff about you've got your parents are getting sick, they're dying, your kids are getting older. I mean, it's just like it's kind of a shit show being this age, to be honest. It's like
Mhm.
there's so
Mhm.
much that you're
Yeah.
contending with, and yet not that much, I mean, deals with it. I just don't feel like there's a ton of film, television, whatever out there that kind of tackles it. And especially from the female perspective, that kind of midlife crisis thing from a female perspective, I just didn't feel like there was a lot of. So it kind of came from, some of my own experiences and some of just living in this stage of life and what I'm like picking up around me. And it's just hard. It's hard, like you said, out here, you don't know that many people who are married for a long time. And so
Right.
you see a lot of people who get to that point and they feel annoyed by where they are in life. And they're like, well, the easiest thing to change is you. You
Right.
you
Right.
go away and maybe that will make everything better. And I think the reality is, which, Eliza says it in one of her monologues in the movie. And I got this from a guy, an acting coach that I met. We were talking and he's like, yeah, he'd been married a long time and I was not married yet. I was in my early 20s. He's like, like, yeah, I could leave her, but honestly, like some days she annoys me and some days it's not great, but then what? Then I'm gonna go meet someone new and I'll be all excited about them. And then a year later, they're gonna have their issues too. And I know who she is. I love her. I trust who she is. And like, so Eliza has a monologue. And I remember hearing that being like, that is so not romantic. Like, what? But then you get
Yeah,
into
yeah,
life and you're like, of course no one's perfect and you're navigating every single aspect of your life with the same I mean, it's a lot
yeah.
to come to terms with and to agree on things and whatever. But Eliza has that speech in the movie where we're sitting on that chaise lounge and she's like, I've been through three husbands, and the reality is I think the first one might have been the best one, but I was too
Mhm.
young and naive to see it. And so she kept pressing the eject button until she's with this third guy and she's like, all along I think the issue was actually me, and she says to my character, I don't think this is about Cal, I don't think it's about Harrison, I think it's about you. And so I also think there's just a lot to sort of unpack about being this age, and it's just easy to pin the blame on all the externals, and really sometimes you just have to dig deep and be like, okay, what do I want the rest of these years to look like, and how do I kind of figure that out? Hey, do you want to answer some questions about marriage?
Yeah, just sure, sure.
It is
Sure.
Valentine's Day week.
It's Valentine's. Come
You guys
on.
got married at 21. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So I've known my wife since I was 14. She her sister was dating my cousin at that time, and we're both Puerto Rican, and so culturally, whenever there's any sort of event, there's a party for it, right?
Uh-huh.
Like if it's somebody's birthday or like a baptism or what have you. And it's Chicago, right? So it's these small apartments in Chicago. You get like 200 people like packed into this small apartment or somebody's basement. And so I met her when I was like 14, 15, and we dated some, at that early age, but really got together at towards the end of high school. And
Wow.
and and right after high school, when I was 19, she became pregnant, and we got married shortly after that.
Wow.
I was 20. It was funny. I remember checking into the place that we were spending the night after our wedding, and the clerk at the desk asked me for my ID, and I give him my ID, and he has sort of a bottle of champagne on the desk, and he's checking my ID,
He's like,
and he
never
goes.
mind.
He goes, I'm not supposed to give you this. You're not 21, but you just got married. So here, and
Oh,
he gives me the bottle of
that's
champagne,
sweet.
and I wasn't even old enough to drink yet, but we
Wow.
got married.
And you
Yeah.
guys have, I mean, oh, and I was going to show you because I was looking for pictures. I was going to ask you, but then I was like, oh, you have a really
Yeah.
cute one on Instagram. So
Yeah.
cute of you
Oh
both.
man, look at that.
Look how
Yeah.
cute. Is that like what age was that picture?
I was that was my I think that was my junior year of high school.
My gosh, isn't that nuts?
Yeah, yeah, sophomore or junior year, I believe, somewhere in there. And I think
And
that
this is
was
you guys now. Now,
yeah,
I have
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
picture of Steven when we dated in high school
Yeah,
similarly
I was
for
gonna
like
ask
a
you that.
hot
Yeah.
minute. And then
Hmm.
I went away to our senior year spring break, and he's a year younger than I am, and he's my best friend from high school's younger brother. And I
Yeah.
brought this picture with me, and we would talk on the phone all night. My dad got this gigantic bill from like wherever we were for our spring break.
Long distance,
Yeah,
Bill.
like just
Yeah,
so
yeah,
long distance back in the day because we're
yeah,
a
yeah,
thousand.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I still have that picture. I like found it in some box and it's just the most baby
Ah,
face picture. I'll
wow.
put it in, but uh
Wait,
it's
wait. He was your brother's
my
best.
my best friend's younger brother.
Okay, I got you.
My
I got
best
you.
friend from high school's younger
Mhm.
brother. And so I'd
Right.
go and do a sleep over there and he'd be like, "Oh, hey, what's up? I was just working
Yeah,
out
yeah,
in the
yeah.
basement. What are you
Yeah.
ladies up to?"
Right, right, right.
But it's crazy to have that much history with someone, right? That you've known
Yeah,
literally since you were, I mean, for me, 16, 17, and for you,
yeah.
and then I knew his sister from when I was in third grade. So I'm like, I knew the
Mhm.
family, and I was like considered the fifth sister even then
Oh,
when I was
wow.
just the best friend of the daughter. So yeah, it's fun. It's fascinating to have that much life and ups and downs. And
Yeah. And
I
so
have
did you guys
questions for
date?
you.
Did you
Like,
did you
uh,
did you date back then
we
in high
dated
school?
just that brief
Yeah.
window, and then I went away on spring break, and then all my friends gave me so much grief about it because he was
Uh-huh.
younger and Mara's younger brother that I was like, this is lame. I'm breaking up with you. So then we didn't date again, but then we were very good friends. And
Right.
I was in LA when my dad died, and Steven dropped everything and hopped on a plane and flew out to be at the funeral. Like
Oh, wow.
we were very connected all those years,
Right.
and then we didn't get married until we were in our 30s, but
Right.
We didn't even date until we were in our 30s, and then we got married, and then we like wasted, we got married right away, and then we had 4 kids, and we were
Yeah.
off to the races quite quickly. But yeah, it's interesting to just go through so many chapters of life,
Yeah.
together. You
Yeah.
know,
But you were friends before
we were friends
you
through everything.
became,
He knew every
yeah.
boyfriend I ever had in LA.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
worked at an agency. He worked at Endeavor. So he
Okay.
actually, he tried to sign as an agent some of my boy. He was like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
really had, I knew his ex-girlfriends. I mean, we were friends for a long time. So
Right.
which is
Right.
which is nice. Okay, so people ask questions. So I'm gonna ask some questions, okay?
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay.
oh, this is
Yeah.
kind of related to love. I have some questions about the movie and some I have about love and marriage. So since we've talked about both, I'll throw it all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, one was about the movie. How was Freddie cast? Did we know each other prior? How did we meet?
Right.
Which we kind of met like this, right?
Yeah, yeah. One of your producers I knew from back in the day, just out the blue, like text me and was like, "I'm working on this thing. There's this great part that I think you'd be terrific for." And I just remember reading the script and feeling like it came from a very personal place, and just loving it and loving the character, and obviously I knew you and your work and some of the other people I think that were already attached or were circling the project. It just seemed like one of these really good indie films that were being put together, and so I became interested really fast. And I loved the character that you wrote. Really, at the end of the day, I love this guy who was this writer who was trying to like do his thing and but had the responsibility of the 4 kids and was trying to sort of balance his dream
Yeah.
of being a writer, but still having the kids and having a family and his responsibilities to that. And then obviously the monkey wrench of this other boyfriend coming into the picture later on, and how that dynamic. So I was flattered that you thought of me. I usually get cast in really really dark and sort of deep stuff, and so like whenever it's romantic stuff like this, I get very
Well,
flattered.
I
So
thought
thank
it was a great, actually, it because there are moments that you are really introspective, and it is quite intense, some of the conversations we have. We have a clip even of the conversation you and I have in the closet.
I've let you down.
No, it's not.
Yeah, I've let you down. When we met, we were young, ready to conquer the world. Had our sights set on some pretty big dreams.
I feel so far away from those people.
You feel far away from me.
I
Yeah.
love that moment so much of you because
Mhm.
there's so much honesty in that moment and so much like you're admitting failure, even though it's not your failure, but you're feeling that way. It's just there's so many, and I'm admitting to you how I do feel a little let down, and all of it is just like sad but honest, and it's probably like it's
Yeah.
either going to be the end or a new beginning, and you don't know which way it's
Yeah.
going to go, but
That's a
but
that, that
then
that- that's a great scene. That's it. And right, doesn't that scene speak to the complexities, as what I just said, the complexities of relationships. Here he is blaming
yeah,
himself. Like, is he
yeah,
at fault? Is he not
yeah.
at fault? It's like, I don't know. I just found that to be
Yeah, but I think
make it.
I'm so happy that you feel that way because I think you got to sort of flex lots of muscles because at the beginning we're kind of joking and it is lighter, and then it gets to access, you're really like more dramatic stuff. And I mean, like I've told you this, but I've had so many people message me being like, I love him so much in this movie and you root
No.
for him and you just want him to be the winner.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you.
there's a question in here which I think it's kind of funny because I'll let you answer it, but it speaks to, well, okay, this is the question. What was it like working on a movie towards the end of a pandemic? And I thought that was an interesting question
Oh,
because it
right.
it deeply affected your experience on our movie.
It did. It was I caught COVID at towards the end of the movie, which really sucked because I was supposed to be in the scene with all
Yes.
of y'all and Bo Bridges, and I
Yep.
really wanted to be in a scene with Bo Bridges, and it affected that. So
It's
I
such a
thought,
bummer because we had to cut
oh,
like two or three scenes, and I've had people say to me like, I love Freddie in this movie so
yeah,
much, and I just wanted like more of him at the end, and I'm like, so did I.
yeah,
But it is what it is. And we were probably lucky to get off with only one person getting it, but didn't need to be you of all people. I'm like, kind of,
no,
but I thought it was interesting because yeah, we literally had to cut two or three scenes you were in, and they weren't like we were able to finish the movie without those
yeah.
scenes. That being said, it did just inform our relationship and how it sort of works out at the end. And, it would have been nice to have them in there, but I thought it was funny they asked because I'm like, well, actually, Freddie got COVID and we had to lock him in a hotel.
Yes. I felt so terrible about that too. Like I'm
Well,
usually really like, on it and I just felt terrible. I'm
no,
sorry.
no, no. You were visiting your mom. You were doing something more
Yeah.
important than making movies.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so you kind of spoke to this a little, but how did you relate to Cal as a character or his situation as a family man slash creative in Hollywood, which I thought was interesting because even though obviously the character is a writer and I'm
Yeah.
not a writer, you're not a writer, but I was writing the movie from a place of that
Yeah.
pressure of feeling like you are a creative, but at the same time you want to be a grown up with a real job who's
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
stability and all the things. So how has that been for you, like riding the wave of our insane career?
Yeah. Yeah. I thank God that I've always done pretty okay.
You've
I've
had
always
so
done.
many successful shows and
Man, I've been so blessed. I've been so blessed. And so like I haven't really had to have gone through what the character of Cal
yeah,
has gone through. Um, but I just imagined, and I know a lot of people like that. I know a
yeah,
lot of people who are so talented and so desperately want to do their craft for a living, who
yeah,
want to do it 24/7 and can't. And can't for whatever reason, has nothing to do with how talented they are, but are forced to go and get sort of a 9 to 5 because they have a wife and
yeah,
they have kids and they have responsibilities, and I've seen the pain in their eyes,
yes,
and I remember all the conversations that I've had with them, and so
yeah,
that's sort of where I pulled from when I
yeah.
was when I was
And when do
acting that.
you cut your losses? Like when do you throw in the towel and how do you
Yeah, right.
justify when you have a family? It's such a hard road, the path we've all signed up for.
It is.
I
Well,
mean,
what made you write that? What made you? What inspired that?
well, the same thing. I mean, I went to USC. I was in the
Mhm.
theater program there, and I I feel like I've had been fortunate to have a lot of really fun jobs and really, things that have hit and whatever. But I feel like also like everyone has their moments where you're like,
Right.
this is
Ebb and
great.
flow.
Oh my God, I'm so happy I do this for a living. I'm so like this is a great choice. And then there's years that you're like, what was I thinking? This is a horrible decision.
Right. Right.
Like all my friends who got real jobs have like no anxiety. They just have like stable jobs. I mean, probably that's delusional and they have a lot of, but it seems like it's a crazy path we've chosen. You're always
Mhm.
forced to reinvent yourself. You're always forced to like what's next, what's next, what's next. And that's a hard way to live. And I have friends that I went to theater school with or even high school with that are insanely talented that never quite found their
Mm.
group and never and it's just a hard on the flip side, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love the fact that we chose something that we were driven by passion and driven by something we loved and that we're excited to go do the thing. I mean, I do know a lot of people who chose the safer path that seem bored to tears and
Mm.
we're not that. Right.
Right. Right.
I guess that's where it came from. I mean, both of the characters in the movie are really in a creative career and trying to be
Right.
pragmatic, I guess, about life. And that I think is just a tough road. And we
Yeah.
didn't really speak about I meant to sort of introduce you, not that you need an introduction because everyone knows who you are, but the things that pop out to me that I hear about the most, although I saw a lot of stuff about chasing Poppy. I haven't seen that movie, but people love that movie. But
Wow,
6 Feet
really?
Under,
Wow.
you're like,
Mm,
everyone loves you from 6 Feet Under. And
mm,
I would be
yeah.
curious what it's even like to be on a show that's that successful. I mean, like so many
Wow.
seasons and so many fans. And how many years ago did it go off the air?
20 maybe a little less,
And
It
do you
was
feel that it's still kind of like the long time the fans are just still passionate? Like, do you still run into people all the time? Because I feel like I hear about it on your behalf all the time.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those really unique experiences that I hope that every actor would have in their career, right? Like
Yeah,
you and I have been making movies and TV for 30 years, right?
yeah,
And we
yeah,
have a long resume of stuff that we've done, but there's
yeah,
always that one or those two or those
yeah,
three that were just so incredibly successful and what sort of defines your career
yeah.
and that was certainly one of them. That project was just right time, right place. It was like lightning in a bottle. And
Yeah,
this was all before social media, too, right? I just remember coming to work and there'd be posters of American Beauty everywhere.
yeah.
And people would be like, hey, did you see that poster? It's Alan wrote this movie, and there's this new studio coming out called
Wow.
DreamWorks.
Wow.
And so as he was doing "Oh Grow Up," American Beauty was coming out simultaneously, and unfortunately, "Oh Grow Up" didn't do well. But American Beauty came out and became this gigantic sensation.
Oh, so that
And
helped you guys kind of catapult too, do you think?
well, it catapulted him, because he won
Yeah.
an Oscar. And so the world was his oyster at that point, and he could have done anything. And he decided to go back to TV, and there was a new network called HBO who had just did Sopranos and Sex and the City and met with them. And people thought he was crazy to go back to TV. And he was like, no,
Yeah.
I'm trying to create a different kind of TV. I feel this sense of pride to have been a part
That's
of
great. I mean,
something like that.
you are, I
Yeah.
mean, and I do think a lot of people go through, they may even go through 30 years and just be like, I'm in this, I'm in that, but nothing really like hit, even if they made a
Yeah.
good living. So I think you're, like you said, lightning in a bottle, like how lucky to be a part of something that actually left its mark, you know? And for me too, Super Troopers, it's like,
Yeah.
there may be a lot of things I've done that no one cares about and no one ever will, but to be a part of something that actually people are like really rabid fans of and super
Yeah.
excited about, you're like, that's like worth, all the
What,
years
what,
of toiling and bad things. You're like, okay, but there's a couple of good ones in there.
yeah. What was that like when that came
I mean,
out?
it was funny because it was a tiny movie. I mean, it was this little
Right.
tiny independent movie, and Broken Lizard, no one had heard of them, and they offered it to me, and I read the script. I'm like, I mean, you know how those things are. You're like, it'll
Yeah.
probably go nowhere, but this is a super funny script, so whatever, I'm going to do it because there's like no denying how funny this thing is.
Yeah.
And then when it first came out, it was just like kind of not, no one was famous in it. So it didn't make a huge noise in the movie theaters or anything. It just was sort of like, yeah, people liked it, but then it was just one of those things that just built.
How many of them did you
We
make?
just did a third one
Just a third.
in the fall. So yeah, Super
I
Troopers
mean,
3. We shot September, October in Boston, and then it comes out in August. So
how cool is that, man? Like
list,
20
it
years
couldn't have
later,
been
you
more
get to do
fun.
like a part three. Come
Oh my
on.
God.
You know.
It's the best
Yeah.
ever.
Bringing it back to like you and your family, like what's that like with you, your husband, your kids to have like this hit movie in the movie theaters and were you in Minnesota at this time or were you still
No, no, we were in LA.
you were in LA?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And they weren't born yet, They're
Okay. Right.
we did the opposite of what you guys did.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
You waited.
but it's fun now because my oldest is 16. And so
Mm.
now he's starting to have, he's starting to be the age where his friends are starting to see the movie or their parents have seen the movie. And so he's seen it, his friends have seen it, they like it. So, hey, my friend Kathleen Robertson, you know Kathleen?
I do know
Yeah.
Kathleen. Yeah.
Kathleen asked one of the questions. She said, "What have you learned most about on-screen chemistry?" Which I thought was an interesting question. With you and I, we had a really, like you
Yeah.
said, a really nice chemistry because I think we felt it did feel familiar. Like it did feel like I understand you, I understand who you are, where you come from. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? There was a real um just trust and kind of
Mhm.
understanding. What has your experience been?
I think with us because we've both been married a long time, right? And here
Yeah,
was this film about a married couple. We both know what it's like to be married, and so
yeah,
that was very simple and very easy to not only sort of get into, but to have chemistry in that regard,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Um, and then I got to meet your lovely husband and your
yeah,
family and your mother, and like I got to meet your family, and so I got a sense of what your family dynamic was,
yeah,
and so and which was very similar to me growing up in Chicago.
yeah,
There's just a sort of a very sort of honest Midwest sensibility
yeah,
with your family and with your friends, which I could instantly relate to. So
yeah, yeah,
so when we were doing our scenes together, it was like, oh yeah, yeah, no,
yeah,
I
totally.
totally get it. Yeah, I don't know if you felt the same way.
Completely the same.
Yeah,
Completely. And I've had, like I said, I've had experiences where I really felt it was not the right chemistry, where it was way off. So
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
relief to me that you and
yeah.
I were like, okay, it's an easy rapport. Like we just sort of got each other, and that makes life
Mhm.
a lot easier because the opposite is not that much fun. What would your wife say her biggest pet peeve is that you do?
What is my what is my man? I didn't expect
Is
that
she
one.
there? We'll just ask her.
What is my biggest what is the biggest pet peeve, baby? I'll make decisions without consulting her, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh hey, we have dinner with so and so on Friday. She's like, well, why didn't you tell me that before? Like, and I'm like, oh my God, my brain was just going sort of a mile a minute, and I just forgot to tell you.
That's
Yeah, and
like
sometimes we
probably
double
every woman
book.
ever wants to kill her husband for that exact fault.
I'm very guilty of that. Very guilty of that. What about you, Marisa? What is
Um,
a pet peeve of yours
I
that your husband?
oh
Yeah.
my what he does or what I do. I would
No,
say
what you do, what you do.
yeah, he would say that
Yeah.
I micromanage because especially
Ah,
because I travel like right now, I'm in
yeah.
LA, he's there. I to the point where I'm like, did you sweep the kitchen? Did you work? Because he was having people over for the Super Bowl. I'm like, dude, don't make it be gross. Okay, you gotta like clean, make the house clean. Like I'll
You
be
were
like,
asking him if he swept the kitchen from
because he
LA?
was hosting all these people. I'm like, you have to like
Right.
make the house look presentable. If I was there,
Uh-huh.
I'm like a little, and I'm not even super high strung. He would probably disagree with that too. But
Yeah.
I'll be like, did he do his reading? Did she do this? Did you do that? Did you wash that sweatshirt? I'm
Yeah.
trying to manage it all from here. And he's like,
Yeah.
and he actually is very capable. So he's like, you go do your thing, go
Yeah.
enjoy, shoot your show, do your whatever you're doing. I
Yeah.
got this. And then I'm just like, okay, I know you got it. But also, did you get did you
Yeah.
get there for lunches? Like
Yeah.
it's hard to let go.
So ballet's at 4:15. Don't forget, you should get there a little bit early, okay, to get her ready. Also, without me here, you should probably just pack lunches the night before, right? And remember, it's got to be sun butter, okay? Peanut butter's the devil. We'll get kicked out of school.
You're only gone for a couple of days. Now, their outfits might be a little weird, but they will be fed and clothed and read to.
Oh, that reminds me. This is his favorite book. Do not worry. He's going to try to get you to read it to him. Don't fall for it.
I got it. I promise.
Okay, I have more questions for you. If someone asked you a secret to like 30 years, I mean, that's a long time,
Yeah.
and you genuinely seem very in love, and your kids have been grown for a while. So it's been the two of you
Yeah.
for a while, and you are seem like a really great team. Like, what do
Yeah.
you have
When like, I'll get like young married couples asking me that question, and you get married, and obviously there's all these factors when you first get married, right? There's the infatuation stage, there's all
yeah.
these like different stages, and I'm going to give you an analogy, and it'll sort of I hope it'll make sense. I read the statistic that said that during COVID, the divorce rate was so high during COVID because people had to be in the same house together and they realized they didn't like each other, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so like is such an important word. It's so different than love,
yeah,
right? Like you get married to somebody, you can love that person, you love them unconditionally, right? Like I'm sure you
Yeah.
love your husband
Yeah.
unconditionally, but like do you like your partner, right?
Yeah.
Which is a much different thing. And so every time people ask me that question, I go, look, I don't know, because what works for me is, I don't know if it's going to work for you, but what I could say is like work on liking your partner
Yeah.
because you're going to go through all of these different stages. They're your life partner, right? Like
Yeah.
like think about that concept,
Yeah.
right? They're your life partner. They're going to be next to you throughout your entire life. They're going to be sitting
Yeah.
on that couch, hopefully next to you when you're 80 years old.
Yeah.
And so you're going to go through all of these different stages. And so,
Yeah.
like, you better damn well like that person who's sitting
Completely.
next to you when you're 80, and concentrate on becoming friends with this person. And I've had this conversation with many people, and some people go, "Yeah, yeah, that makes sense." And other people, like, the concept of that doesn't compute, you
That's
know?
so sad.
Yeah, they're like, "What? Like friends? Like what?" Like I'm like, "Yeah, man, you got to like work on being friends with
Wow.
I'm sure there are times that you're just watching TV and you're not like saying a word to each other. So what about you? What do you think is the secret behind a
Um,
17-year
right. I mean, I would say something very similar, which is Steven makes me laugh more than most people. He really
ah,
makes me laugh a lot. And like I'm a comedy driven human being, and
yeah.
I dated people in the past that were, great people, whatever, handsome, like all the things, but like not funny and kind of
Yeah.
maybe just even like a little just stable, but like not that a little boring.
Yeah.
Steven's so funny. And also, I mean, Steven's like, I think, did you ever see him play piano? He's like a really talented, creative
No, no,
guy. He's
no,
a
I never saw him play piano.
crazy pianist. He's
Mm,
look him up on any of the iTunes or Spotify, whatever. He's on all of them. Stephen Wallach
yeah.
music. He's a crazy. So he wooed me in the beginning high school days with his piano
With his piano skills.
tickling
I
of the
see.
ivories. But
Hmm.
my point being, he is ultimately, even though he has like a more straightforward like job than I do. He's a creative as well, and
Hmm.
he's so funny. And so like, in raising teenagers, let's be real. I know that was a hot minute ago for you, but we're
Yeah.
in it right now. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. We have four kids and they're, 16, 15, 12 and a half, so almost teenager and 9. And we're in it. And if we didn't make each other laugh, we'd be in trouble because we just well there are so many moments that we're like, oh my, like what is happening, but
Yeah.
we have each other and we have laughter and really we see eye to eye on a lot of things, not everything, but you're right. I mean, you bet. If I always tell my kids that, I'm like, you better find someone that makes you laugh because life is stressful, life is hard, like there's so many ups and downs, and if you can't laugh your way through like a good chunk of it, like forget it. You're in
Mhm.
trouble, in my opinion.
My mom recently passed, and I was going through her photo album before she passed, and I saw some photos of her, and she had on this like little skirt, and her hair was done, and she was next to my dad, and my dad was dressed really sharp, and I was like, Mom, look at you, you got your little skirt on and your little this and that.
That's
And,
cute.
and she was like, so what? Your father liked it. He liked it. So. And then I'm sitting there looking at her, and she had she had a mastectomy about a year or before that, and so she was missing a breast, and I was just kind of looking at her where she was at compared to that photo, and her and my dad were married for 55 years, and I was like,
Wow.
wow, it was that was that stage, the short skirt stage, and then it
Yeah.
went through all of these other different stages, and then here you are, this stage where you're missing a breast and going through cancer, and so like you just and the thing that got them through it was the friendship that they had. Talking to a buddy of mine, and he said, his parents or his grandparents or whatever, he was saying, they're still together, but they just don't live together. And I'm like, what? I said, what do you mean? Like they don't like live in the same, they don't like sleep in the same bedroom? He goes, no, man, they live like in separate houses. but they're still together. They're still married. I'm like, wow, that's really
Really?
that's and I'm like, okay, but that works for you, man. That's the
My
complexity,
uncle
you know.
split up with his wife. He told
Yeah,
everyone they were divorced. They
yeah,
secretly never got divorced, and they were best friends. They did everything. They'd get up, they were in
yeah,
separate houses. They'd get up in the morning, they'd go for their morning walk, they'd go to their errands, they shared a dog. And you
yeah.
know what? In the end, like when he passed away from like a heart attack quite suddenly, she was utterly destroyed. And that's when everyone figured out they were actually still married the whole time. And it's like,
Right. Oh,
what?
wow.
But you're right. It's like to each their own. I don't know how that worked
That
out for them, but more power to them.
worked for you, man. That worked for you, Like that's why I'm always really hesitant when people go, "What's the secret?" I'm
What's the
like, "Look,
secret?
man,
Yeah.
there's no secret because what works for me may not work for you.
Yeah.
You got to find what works for you, and I just think at the foundation of it is friendship and love and communication and respect and all of the stuff that people tell you along the
Yeah.
way. All of that stuff needs to be firmly in place to figure out whatever dynamic works for
I mean,
you.
I'm just glad we're not dating with like all the stuff that's there now. I feel like it would be so much harder.
Yeah, yeah, you think so? If you were
Yeah, because
dating
I
at this
see my kids trying to
stage?
navigate and it's like
Yeah,
chat and this, and I'm like, I just can't. I don't even
the,
know. It
the,
feels like
swi-
there's
the
so,
swiping thing,
yeah, it's just all of it.
yeah,
There's so much there. They
yeah,
have swipe, they leave them on open, they leave them on red. It's like it's a whole
yeah,
new language and it's a whole new world out there. And I it seems there were enough things to step in back in when I was dating.
right,
I'm like, okay, last question. This is a really compelling,
yeah.
important question. And I'm going to read it to you the way it's written. Does he
Okay.
likes your feet?
I'm sorry. What was that?
There was someone on Instagram wanted to know if you like my feet. So there's that.
If I like their feet?
My
What?
feet. I was like, what? We just put it
Yeah.
as a joke. Hey, creeper, you and your creepy questions. Go bye
Right,
bye.
right.
Listen, thank you so much for chatting with me. I really, really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
And, again, thank you for being in the movie, doing such a beautiful job with it. I think from what I can tell, I just feel like every day I get texts from people that are like, I watched your
Mm,
movie. I just randomly found it on Amazon Prime and I told
yeah.
all my friends to watch it. So I think, the word is getting out more and more and more. It's only been out for a little bit of time, but hopefully more and more people watch it. Hopefully Valentine's Day, because
Yes.
right, it is a very ultimately romantic and it's a nice message behind it, as we've discussed today.
I couldn't agree more. And thank you for Marisa for having me today, for having me as part of your film and this very sort of personal, beautiful thing that you wrote and having me in your hometown and to meet your
Oh,
family
yes.
and all that.
It is.
I'm so grateful. And you're right, it is a great Valentine's movie, and I'm so happy that we did this interview and in hopes to get the word out. And so everyone out there who's watching this interview right now, go watch Blue Eyed Girl. It's a great Valentine's movie. Check it out. Let us know what you think.
Thank you, Freddie, so much.
When Cal and I first met, we were so, wide-eyed and brimming with passion.
Well, I want to propose a toast to the passionate people we once were. Cheers to that.
Hello?
Janie, it's Dad. He's in the hospital.
You sure you don't want us to be there?
No. My sisters will be there. It'd be too much for the kids.
Okay. They will be fed and clothed and read to.
Janie!
No, Dad, don't get up.
How's my girl?
I'm okay.
You know Dad's gonna be okay, right?
Is he?
It is you. Vodka soda?
That is a very strange thing to remember about me.
I remember everything about you.
You make a good grown-up.
You are the same, only better.
Right.
Oh, no. That cannot be okay to drink.
We did it.
So why aren't we
Why aren't we what?
married to each other?
Nothing happened, okay? It was a trip down memory lane.
It's 3 in the morning.
And nothing happened.
Don't mess up your life.
think everybody has that person, that one that they still wonder about, that lives unblemished by reality.
Jamie, I can't stop thinking about it.
We were 17.
We had magic that we let slip through our fingers.
Getting away from it all, I think I just realized days come and go, but we're not moving forward. We're stuck.
Is this really about me or is it about him?
For the first time in a long time, I feel alive. You represent everything I was supposed to be. And being here with you makes me feel like that girl again.